Hey everyone, happy Super Bowl Sunday. This is Clayton with Your Arc Insurance Agency, and I'm back to bring you another video. In this video, we're talking about business insurance, what you need to make sure that all your blood, all your sweat, all your equity, time, energy, all that good stuff is protected, because you can find yourself in a really bad situation if you're not protected correctly. And so in this video, I wanted to cover how to make sure your business insurance, to go over the types of insurances that you will need in order to make sure that your business is protected. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're back. So one of the very first types of insurances, this is kind of like your foundation insurance, all right? So imagine if we're building a house, we're starting with the basement first and we're gonna work our way up, okay? So the very first type of insurance is basically general liability, right? So that covers you for products and services that you might sell. It might cover you in the event, like let's say you have a brick and mortar type of business. Let's say you have a coffee shop and maybe one of your employees forgot to wipe the floor after a spill happened, and basically let's say another customer walked in and they slip and fall and they wind up twisting their ankle, or tearing a meniscus in their knee or something like that, and now they're coming after you for the medical bills. So your general liability will protect you for things such as that, and that's one of the first foundational insurances that most businesses will need, especially if you have a brick and mortar type of business where you got people coming in and out. You'll definitely need that type of protection for your business if that's something that you do for your business. So think about number one, general liability. Okay, so we're back. So for number two, we have commercial property protection. All right, so make sure, especially not even if you just have a storefront, but if you have a situation where, let's say, you have expensive tools or expensive equipment, maybe you have some type of big printing business, or maybe you have an auto repair shop where you have a lot of expensive tools and equipment. Make sure that you have commercial property in coverage, so that in the event that, let's say, there's a fire or something like that, or there's a flood, or maybe there's a fire in the next building and the sprinkler system leaks over to your side, and now all your tools or some expensive equipment is damaged. You want to make sure that you have commercial property coverage to ensure that in the event of a loss such as that you'll be able to recoup those tools or those expensive costs that might have accrued during that catastrophic event. So if you have a business, especially not just if you have a storefront, but also if you have a situation where you have a lot of expensive equipment and tools, make sure that you got commercial property coverage too as well. Okay, so for the next one, number three is business income coverage, right? So this kind of piggybacks off what I was just saying earlier. Let's say you're in a situation where you have a lot of expensive equipment, and let's say in a situation like that, there was a fire, or maybe even some of the important materials got stolen, like a theft. And let's say because now those tools are missing or destroyed or whatever the case may be, you can no longer do your job, right? So business income coverage would cover you in the event during that time where you cannot, obviously earn a living, right? You can't maybe work on cars if all your tools are gone, or maybe, if you have some type of equipment that was damaged, like you have a print shop or something like that, now you can't, print your newspapers or print your magazines or print t-shirts, or if that's what you do, right? Because that equipment in your commercial property is now damaged or maybe even stolen. So business income coverage will cover you in the event that you have a loss. They can supply you with some extra funds and protect you, and hopefully keep the lights on a little bit longer while you recoup those tools and equipment and things that you might have lost during that crazy catastrophic event. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you have business income coverage too as well. All right, so for number four, we have professional liability. This is a huge one right here. I have professional liability. This is for pretty much anyone that has almost any type of business. I don't care, from a barber all the way up to a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. They all have professional liability coverage. This is for situations where you could even be doing your best job. It doesn't even have to be something that you intentionally did or any that you did voluntarily or anything like that. So a perfect example of why you would need professional liability. Let's say you're an accountant, right? And so you work on people's taxes and finances and all that good stuff, right? And let's say there's a situation where you might have put an extra zero when there really should have been a one, or maybe you left out a couple of zeros or something like that. And people are human. We all make mistakes, right? And in the event like that, let's say now the company is being sued, or the IRS is coming after them, and now they got to pay all these legal fees and all this kind of stuff because made an honest mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So professional liability would protect you if there was a claim against you in the event that you made a mistake in regards to maybe incorrectly filling out some paperwork, or for me, if in insurance, if I accidentally sold the person the wrong coverage, or make sure they weren't adequately covered correctly. So everyone should have professional liability insurance. It's just pretty standard, especially when you're dealing with serious situations like anything to do with finances, health, legal situations, anything like that. You really want to make sure that you have professional liability coverage, and keep that in the back of your mind when you are looking for business insurance. Okay, so we're back. So for number 5, we're flying through this. All right. So the next one that you also want to consider too as well is workers' compensation, right? So this is especially if you have employees that are working for you. They are one of your biggest resources in regards to running your business, right? We all rely on people in some way, shape, or form, whether it be from a customer standpoint, whether it be from an employer standpoint. We have employees. So having workers' compensation is key if that fits into your business model where you have people working for you. A perfect example of why you would need workers' compensation. Let's say you have maybe a moving and hauling business, and one of your employees gets hurt while they're on the job, or maybe they're up on the lift and they slipped and fell, or they were moving something really heavy and they hurt themselves. Well, if you don't have workers' compensation, and in a lot of states they do require, especially depending on the type of job that you have and some things there, they require you to have workers' compensation. So in a situation like that where an employee maybe gets hurt while he or she is on the job, you want to make sure that you have workers' compensation before that happens, or just have it regardless, especially if you know that that's the type of business that you're going to be doing. You want to have workers' compensation because they can be coming after you for their medical bills and all other types of things that they could be losing due to the fact that they can no longer work at your company because they might have gotten hurt at a job or something like that. So make sure that you have workers' compensation, especially if you have employees. You need to have it. It's just too risky to go without it. And in some states, depending on where you live, you need to have it. So keep that in mind when you are shopping for insurance for your business. All right, so we're on to number 6. This is a big one, especially nowadays. Cybersecurity protection. I have cybersecurity protection. I highly recommend it. It's just basically just the way things are nowadays. You really want to make sure that you have things stored in a safe and proper manner. So with cyber liability protection, basically that protects you for things like hacks, from things like maybe not keeping people's records in a safe manner, just all kind of things that can happen, especially nowadays with so much hacking and things going on nowadays. People hack Instagram accounts, people hack emails, people hack into banking and medical records and all this kind of stuff. So if you are, especially if you're storing a lot of clients information on things like computers and all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure you have cyber liability, because you want to make sure that it's not even just, obviously, you're doing it for your customers too as well, but just for my own peace of mind, right? You know what I'm saying? Just for me to be able to sleep at night, I want to make sure that I have the protection in the event that something happens beyond my control. So also keep that in mind when you are looking at insurance coverages for your business. Make sure that you check with your insurance agent about cyber liability. All right, so we're almost at the finish line. We're at number 7, and the next one is, now this might not always apply to everyone, okay? But if you're in a situation where you maybe have several, company vehicles, let's say you maybe have a delivery service, or maybe you have a food business where you're doing a lot of catering and moving food from one point to point A to point B and all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you also have a commercial auto policy too as well, to make sure that your vehicles are covered too. In the event that you have maybe drivers delivering or picking up expensive things, or delivering foods or wedding cakes or pizzas or whatever the situation is. If your company has, or even like a cleaning service too as well, could be one too, where they have multiple vehicles. If you have multiple vehicles under your company, you also want to make sure that you have commercial auto insurance to protect your business and your company vehicles too as well. So keep that in mind. All right, we're almost done. This is the last one that I highly recommend that businesses, look at when they're looking to insure their business. This one is kind of an asterisk one because, if you're just starting out, I like to, set people up in the correct way. But it also just really depends on the type of business this individual has. But one of the other things that a lot of people, as their business continues to grow, I highly recommend that you also look at a commercial umbrella policy. The reason why I say that is, let's say you're in a situation that, you have I don't know. I'm trying to think of a business right now, but let's say you make widgets. I'm just going to use it out as an example, right? You make widgets, all right? This is just a fictional item, right? So let's say this widget, winds up hurting someone, right? And you only have about $1 million worth of coverage, for your general liability, let's say, right? What the umbrella policy will do, right? And let's say they cause you have $1 million of coverage, right? And let's say it causes $1.5 million of damage, right? What the umbrella policy will do, it will make up the difference. So you might even have another $1 million umbrella policy to cover you in the event that you exceed that $1 million worth of coverage on your general liability. So it'll kick in if your general liability insurance is not efficient enough to cover the damages that might have happened because of this widget, right? So think about that. I highly recommend, obviously, you might not be able to, you might not want to start out with that, right? But it just really all depends on the people that you're serving, the type of business, your exposure financially too as well. And then also too as well, I highly recommend that, yearly, right, as your business continues to grow, you continue to make more money, you continue to hire more people and buy more commercial vehicles and all this kind of stuff, right? Make sure that you're maybe doing a coverage assessment every 6 months or every year with your insurance agent to make sure and to let them know of any changes that are happening, right? Let's say you go from 2 vehicles to now 4, right? You need to make that phone call to your insurance agent to let them know, so that way you can make sure that those other 2 vehicles that you just purchased are covered, right? So just some things to think about. I hope everyone enjoys their Super Bowl Sunday. If you have any questions or if you like the style of video, definitely, give me a thumbs up or shoot down a like in the bottom of the comment section there. And I thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, supporting the Your Arc Insurance Agency movement. And I hope everyone has a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.